So at Amazon, we have leadership principles, and we strive to kind of interweave them in our process. So when we talk to people, like, are you customer obsessed, bias for action, deliver results?
Welcome to the All in Recruitment podcast by Manatal, where we explore best practices, learnings, and trends with leaders in the recruitment space. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channels on YouTube and Spotify and stay tuned for our weekly episodes. I'm your host, Lydia, and with us today is Jonathan Kidder, Senior Technical Recruiter Level 3 L6 at Amazon. Great to have you with us today, Jonathan.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So walk us through your background in technical recruitment, Jonathan. How did you come to nurture or cultivate your expertise in this area?
Like many in our field, I kind of fell into recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school for communications marketing. I love talking to people on the phone and just in person doing presentations. And after I graduated from my university, I got a role in kind of marketing communications as an intern at a staffing company called AGS, or Allegis Global Solutions. And I went right into kind of employer branding, communication, social media, and I loved my experience there. But for me, I sat next to kind of a recruiting team, and I would listen in on phone calls and conversations. And for me, I was like, wow, what are they doing? They're sourcing, they're talking to people, they're prospecting for leads. I just kind of fell into it. And I reached out to my manager at the time and maybe I could learn more about sourcing and become kind of a recruiter. And that's how it all started too. And it's been a long time, about 12 years now, but I just kind of fell into it. And it's been a good experience thus far. I was able to kind of connect with a lot of different senior level recruiters at the time and sit next to them in my career and just kind of grow. So that's number one, is finding a mentor, finding some people that are more senior than you, listening into conversations. How are they talking on the phone? And then, of course, you start to kind of learn about searching and Boolean and everything else. But yeah, number one is just finding a mentor, someone you can kind of go to, listen in on their conversations, and then kind of go from there.
And can you tell us about your experience recruiting for technical roles at Amazon?
I've been in Amazon for almost 4.5 years, and it's been a great experience. Mostly, I've been focusing on software engineering, IT leadership-based roles, and very challenging too, as the market kind of rose up during the peak of COVID. Competition was very high, and working at kind of a FANG company, there's just lots of external competition. So being able to kind of network, use all my tactics, all my different tools to kind of find and source people was very important too as well. And then, of course, I looked and sourced externally. So learning how to do kind of a talent map. So looking at data, labor analytics of different countries across the globe is very vital to, and actually I wrote a book about talent mapping, pulling data, looking at analytics, and then using that data to create kind of a sourcing strategy or plan will be very important too as well.
And in representing Amazon, I would imagine a large name, a big company, almost everyone recognizes the brand. Is it more challenging?
For us, we're one of the largest TA teams in the US, in North America. So when you think about it that way, there's more internal competition between different teams and networking, and everyone's going for the same talent. So it's being very creative with how you personalize your messaging, how you communicate with candidates externally, and then how you use kind of your hiring managers to kind of broadcast your message online. So it's actually quite the opposite, because there's so much competition, and just the pool of talent hasn't really grown much, even internationally now too. So there's just not enough people that do these sort of niche skills or have this sort of experience. So competition is even higher.
So when you do look out for candidates, for these niche roles? What are some key qualities that you look out for apart from just the skills?
I really focus on where they went to school, what university did they graduate from, their education, their foundation. And that's really learning the fundamentals of kind of technical roles is where did you graduate? Where did you kind of get your degree? At what level? And then looking at certification courses, what are you certified in is going to be very important versus looking at what current company are you working into. So we really focus on the fundamentals, and that's going to be very important just for your long-term success in the tech field. So yeah, that's really kind of my main area as well.
And you talked about the pandemic earlier. There was stiff competition when the pandemic hit and things changed. How did the pandemic, when at the height of it, im- impact your recruitment strategies for technical roles?
Kind of what happened was everyone was remote.
Mm.
So many teams, departments were local, but now since everyone was fully remote, it just opened the doors for you could sit really in any location across the globe too. So, it made it more competitive because now I've got locations in Michigan or Minnesota. I've got Meta or Google looking at candidates in the Midwest versus just
Mm.
focusing on the Bay Area for leads. And then they realized, hey, I could go for the Midwest. It's a cheaper kind of salary compensation versus looking at someone in the Bay Area. So competition really rose, and that's why salaries got very much competitive. They got higher, and just because everyone was remote during kind of that period too as well.
Did you have any notable successes or particular challenges that you've experienced that you'd like to share?
Yeah, for me, it was an amazing year. I would say from 2021 to 2022 was fantastic for tech recruiting. We were hiring and doing lots of events. I was working with many managers, and it was extreme growth.
Mm.
So for me, just hiring many different roles, um, including international roles too. So I was able to work on roles in South America, in Europe, just kind of across the globe. So just many opportunities to kind of grow, meet hiring managers, and grow our teams internally too as well.
Mm.
So it was a great time.
What steps do you take to ensure diversity and inclusion in your recruitment efforts for technical roles?
Yeah, it's so important too. And for me, I wrote a book called A Guide
Mm.
to Diversity Talent Sourcing.
Mm.
So, A Guide to Diversity Talent Sourcing. And it's a great book. It really breaks down the fundamentals of looking for diverse candidates online too, as well. And for me, it's really hard to kind of find these people because they don't, you don't put your gender, race, you don't put that your nationality on your resume, your social media profile. It's really important to kind of look at maybe what nonprofits they're connected to, or association groups, or universities, or schools, or just their specific locations when you are kind of trying to target diverse candidates too as well. So, but it's very important. Even on my current team, we track all the everyone coming through our process, and we've got goals internally to kind of hit those goals,
Mm.
and women is going to be very important, and then also diverse candidates. How many are we bringing through the process?
So, you mentioned earlier about a period of growth and mass hiring and plenty of lots of competition going out there looking for the right talent. There's also, the question of layoffs, which has taken place just recently. What is the experience like for a recruiter when you're going through this period? There would be plenty of ways that you need to communicate certain things, and what is the impact like for you?
In recruiting, there's ups and there's downs,
Mm.
and I think right now we're kind of in the middle, where it's not very up but not very down. We're kind of just waiting to see kind of what happens with our economy. So we've got banking situations, we've got the Ukraine war, our economy is kind of dicey.
Mm.
So I think any company right now is just kind of hesitant to hire, just with so many unknowns with the economy. So there's so much uncertainty. It's a challenge, for any kind of company right now, in North America as well as international too. What do we do? So I think I've talked to many recruiters, and they're all kind of like, it's a big question mark. What do we do? Where do we go? Um, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with our economy too, as well.
So where there's redundancy like this, how do you prepare to hire again?
I'd say it's all about kind of pipelining. So you could focus on diversity hiring, you could focus on niche skill sets. If you know you've recruited for these types of roles in the past, it's a great way to take this time to kind of pipeline. So, adding people to projects or Excel projects, and keeping people warm. It's a great way. So once you are active again, you're able to kind of take that list and reach out to those people and just say, "Hey, I know we've connected 3-4 months in the past. Are you active now?" I'm doing the same thing too on my end.
And to be able to pipeline that way and even forecast what the business needs might be in the future, you also have to stay up to date with the trends and even developments in the technology space. So how do you stay up to date with the trends and different developments in technical recruitment, especially within the technological sector?
There's many different sites. So like TechCrunch is one I always subscribe to kind of stay updated on trends. Mashable is another one. And then also looking at your competition, what's happening at Meta or Google right now, and such. I also recommend looking at getting certifications. So if you're really focused on kind of IT, there's many kind of certifications that you can kind of take on your own, to get certified in cloud computing or cybersecurity. There's many different courses available online too that will really just help you be a better recruiter. So the more you know about a topic, the more you're able to kind of present yourself and talk over roles more accurately too as well.
And with tech hiring or technical recruitment, there's also that element of assessing the culture element or the culture add or fit, as you might want to call it. So how do you go about assessing culture fit?
Many companies, they kind of create kind of a leadership stance. So leadership principles, their mission statement, a summary, their EVP summaries. Taking all that into account is going to be very important through your entire process. So at Amazon, we have leadership principles, and we strive to kind of interweave them in our process. So when we talk to people, like, are you customer obsessed, bias for action, deliver results? So I'm very proud to say that we really take into account our leadership, our culture, right in the process from day one. We're kind of talking about that. So as a recruiter, it's very, very important. So looking at your mission statement, your summaries, and then interweaving that into your intake or into your phone screens. Your interview process will be very important too, because at the end of the day, you really want to make sure the person that you are bringing in is not only has the skills to do the job, but also is a good kind of culture fit, and fits well within your leadership principles.
Moving on to technology and the different use cases that we're seeing for AI, especially in recruitment. Now we've seen ChatGPT 3 and now it's 4, and we're going to continue to see these trends affecting every sector in the business world. So what are your thoughts on the impact of AI on talent acquisition and recruitment?
Sorry to jump in. I'm so excited as well. It's an exciting time for recruiters, and not only recruiting, but many different industries too. And ChatGPT really came in and launched kind of a new era into recruiting. And I feel like some recruiters are kind of nervous, and then others are very optimistic. And I would say I'm very optimistic about just these new tools and implications too. So for ChatGPT, you could use it for so many different things too. So updating, optimizing job descriptions, having it rewrite summaries, even your mission statement, using it for social media, or outreach. So reaching out to people, software engineers it's very competitive still, but using this tool to kind of rewrite and optimize outreach messages will be very impactful too. So in the future, I think it will be even more interwoven into our process. So I can imagine using this or just an AI tool to kind of use it to source externally in the future for leads, for prospects, or just helping us automate the process with
Right.
scheduling or getting feedback, all those different things. So at the end of the day, I think for a recruiter, um, we're going to use it just to optimize a process more efficiently. It's not going to remove us from the process. It's just going to make us more human. So all the mundane tasks that you are doing every single day, all the things that we have to do as a recruiter, all those things could be automated someday, and you could be more focused on creating kind of a human connection with that candidate. So building more relationships, prepping them for the whole experience, walking them through the process will be very important, and such. Yeah,
All right.
recruitment technology is kind of an area where it's here to stay, and we can definitely use it in the recruiting space. So automating outreach, automating scheduling, all those different things that you'd have to do manually will now be replaced with AI. So and that's great. I think at the end of the day, humans want connection. So when you call customer service or you try to get help from a company, like, hey, I've got this thing, it's broken, I want to talk to someone over the phone. At the end of the day, you really want to connect with someone over the phone, and people really want that human connection in everything in life. So that's how I think recruiters will kind of be interwoven into our process. Is walking people through the process, getting them prepared well.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, what advice would you give someone who's starting out in recruitment today?
I would say keep learning. Don't get stuck too. So there's always something to kind of learn. Our industry is always changing. And so, taking courses, getting certified, doing everything that you can do outside of just your 9 to 5 role will be very important for your long-term success in the field too, because it's easy to kind of get sucked in and just focus on one particular area of your role. So just sourcing or just the process. But it's going to be very important for you to take the time to kind of keep learning. So reading books, attending conferences, everything that you can kind of do will make you a stronger recruiter in the long term.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, for your time, your insights, and the enthusiasm that you brought to the field of recruitment, and the presentation of all that. I think that's very going to be very valuable to our listeners. So I'm sure some of them would also want to reach out to you. So where can they find you? Maybe on LinkedIn?
Yes, they can go to my website, wizardsourcer.com. And it's a talent sourcing blog where I just focus on trends and kind of what's happening in the industry too.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure hearing you share these insights. And we have been in conversation with Jonathan Kidder, who's a senior technical recruiter level 3 L6 at Amazon. If you like our content, please feel free to subscribe to our channels and stay tuned for more insights from All in Recruitment. Thank you.